I'm back! Hello, everybody. It's Sara Weiss of Passion and Pickleball. Welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV, channels 249, 250, and 251. You can download the Zingo TV app on iOS and Android app stores. Don't forget to rate and leave a comment. This app is free and is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, as well as all smart TVs 2016 and on. Yes, I am back with another episode of Passion and Pickleball and another amazing guest who I will introduce very soon. But in the meantime, what am I going to talk about this time? Let's talk about something really interesting. I was a life coach, and I still am a life coach, but what's helped me in my world, my meteoric rise in pickleball, has been my mindset. Something that I've invested a lot of time, energy, and effort into throughout my life. Ever since I was a teenager, I learned about the law of attraction, the movie The Secret. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Learn about manifestation and the law of attraction, because what you think about comes about. You become. What you think about, you become. So I've used all of my worldly knowledge from all of my mentors, my coaches, and, life to use in elevating my life, not only in pickleball, but in my world. But I've taken it onto the courts, and it's done a lot of very magical things. For someone who never really cared for sports, I never watched it, never really got into anything, got passionate, let alone passionate about a sport. When I got involved in this one, my passions soared and took me very far, very quickly, to a point where I'm already playing at an elite level. How? Why? Why did that happen? What is it that's so powerful about the mind that can help someone elevate quickly? So, what I want to talk about is how to rise quickly. And I'm going to say how to rise quickly in pickleball, but this is the same formula for how to rise quickly in anything. So, this is kind of important, guys. This is kind of a big deal. If you want to rise quickly in your world, your business, your sport, one of the biggest things, number one, is to show up. It sounds simple, sounds kind of silly, but showing up is more than half the battle, okay? And it might seem silly. Like I said, it's going to sound silly. But here's something, here's a really great example to anyone who's known me, okay? I was at the US Open, April 19th, 2023. A lot of you know this story. I went there, and there was this big movement that was like against me because of my past, my gender, and all that stuff. They didn't want me to play in the female division. What happened to me was I went through a lot of emotions and a lot of stuff that, scared me. It freaked me out about, should I show up to this tournament again the next day? So, because I went to the tournament, I came back to our hotel or our Airbnb, and I found out that there was this like big movement against me. The question I had to myself was, do I want to go back? And my initial response was like, I want to hide. I want to run away and hide. I just got challenged in a very big way, and I got put down and kicked down and aimed at and attacked. And the question was, do I run away and hide, or do I show up? And of course, you guys knowing me, I showed up. It took a lot of convincing, and it took some good friends of mine to help me remember that really important point. And it's to show up. And it's to show up no matter what. It's to show up whenever you have the opportunity, whenever you're challenged, when you're pushed, when you're kicked, when you feel like giving up, when you feel like you don't have any more left in the tank. It's to show up. Again, this isn't just in pickleball, but this is how to rise quickly in anything, because you're going to get challenged. You're going to be put in positions where you don't want to show up. And I encourage you to show up. That's huge. Another big, big thing that's helped me move up quickly in almost anything that I put my mind and heart into is to have a massive goal. Not just a goal, but a massive goal. A goal that seems seemingly impossible. When I first started in this sport, just like everything I do, I had this ridiculous, lofty goal. Like, I'm going to go pro. I created the goal, whether I believed it or not, when I first brought it up, because I knew how hard pros worked. I knew what kind of intelligence and IQ they had about their sport. And in my mind, it's like, do I have what it takes? I don't know. Who knows? Why not have that big, massive goal? And to begin to act as if I couldn't fail. That's a very important part to this, okay? I acted as if I could not fail. When you act as if you can't fail, you have this conviction. It's this massive belief that no matter what, I'm going to make it. It's like as if you spoke to your future self, and future self said, yeah, I made it. No matter what, keep going forward, keep showing up. You're going to make it. When you act with that kind of conviction, when you show up on the court, when you show up at your work or your business, when you show up as a mother or father for your kids, when you show up with the conviction of no matter what I do, I'm not going to fail, the kind of accomplishment that you can achieve in a short amount of time can be astronomical. So you pair that up with showing up nonstop, showing up and having a massive goal, you tend to find ways to make things happen quicker than if you had a smaller goal. If you have a bunch of small goals, you might be able to quickly achieve that small goal and then go to the next goal and then go to the next goal. But if you start with a massive, lofty, seemingly impossible goal, you seem to find a way to get there quicker. That's just been my experience. Less of an opinion, more of an experience. And what else I will have to obviously push on you guys is to embrace that you're going to lose. Embrace you're going to lose tournaments. You're going to almost embarrass yourself sometimes with how good you think you might be, and then to find out and be humbled by someone who's much better than you. This goes in pickleball and this goes with everything else. Embrace the losses, embrace the slumps, embrace the challenges, and not only embrace them, but chase them, run after them. Something in sales that I was taught was, go for no. Some of you might have heard this before. Go for no. Chase the no's, because the more no's you get, the more yeses you get. So the more losses you get in pickleball, the more wins you'll get. How does that make sense? Because if you're playing enough to get a ton of losses, then you're playing enough to get better and better and better. So own those losses. In fact, go after the losses. You want them. They're the biggest teaching opportunities you will ever have. So show up, have massive goals, and embrace the losses. Number 4, hire coaches. It's a no-brainer, guys. And again, this goes not just for pickleball, but for life. How do you think I was able to learn about the mindset stuff? I hired coaches. Anything that I've ever done in business, I've hired people, or I've reached out to someone who's accomplished what I've wanted to accomplish and offered them money for an hour of their time. Try this. If you have a business or if you are doing something and you're trying to expand some new invention, idea, look at someone who's accomplished something very similar to you, reach out to them and ask them for their time. In fact, offer them. Say, I would love to speak to you for an hour. Pick your brain. What would it take? $100. Would you take $100 for me to speak to you for an hour just to have a conversation? Do whatever it is that you need to do to speak to someone who's accomplished what you want to accomplish. That goes for life and it goes for pickleball. When I first started and I knew I wanted to have this massive, lofty, impossible goal of going pro, guess who I trained with? Pros. I reached out to pros. I reached out to the top players in the area and I hired all of them. Not just one of them. I hired every single one of them. And I spent an hour here or there, 2 hours here or there, and it helped me grow so much quicker than if I would not have hired them. It seems like a no-brainer, but not what I'm talking about. But in pickleball, create a group, create an advanced group of players who all have these seemingly impossible goals. Don't just play with people who are playing just for the fun of it. They're amazing people and they're amazing friends. But if you want to rise faster, align with others who want to rise faster, and guess what's going to happen? Rising waters raise all ships. So all of you will raise each other. When I'm coaching people, I will coach partners on how to drill with each other better, how to challenge each other harder so that they can rise quicker. So again, show up, have a massive goal, embrace your losses and challenges, and in fact, chase after them, hire coaches, and get into a mastermind group of people who align with your vision. And with that, hopefully you wrote some notes down. With that, I'd like to bring on our guest, Tracy Bennett. Tracy, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. It's always nice having incredible faces on here. Not only incredible faces, but high-level achievers. Not only in football, but in life.
Thanks so much for having me. I have to put my glasses on so I can see what's happening.
That's good. So first question that I always ask everybody is, why pickleball?
I didn't choose pickleball. Pickleball chose me. I think that's uh, the best thing the way that I can describe how it happened. It kind of happened to me, not because of me. So, I mean, I guess to get into this, I'll digress. I'll go back a long time ago. I we're talking about coaches, and we're talking about hiring coaches and passion and pickleball, and passion is probably one of the most predominant characteristics that you will find in me. And when people say, "Can you tell me something about Tracy?" Passion pretty much always comes up in the first one or two words that would come out of their mouths.
That's why you're
So,
here.
so prior to pickleball, I spent decades as a high performance tennis coach. I worked for myself as well in conjunction with Tennis Canada, um, Ontario Tennis Association, way back, and then Tennis BC. And at this point in my pickleball, I've tried so hard not to say the word tennis, because now it's pickleball, that now I'm saying, am I saying tennis right? Like, so it's like, so I spent decades as a high performance coach, a coach educator. One of my jobs for a decade was qualifying coaches throughout mostly British Columbia and Western Canada, but Canada. I was a course facilitator for the and qualifier for the Tennis Canada coach education systems. And a coach educator. I presented at Tennis Professional Association workshops on multiple topics, and I created and developed players. So my passion was in player development, and then it continued to be player development, but then I kind of tagged in coach education along into that in the last decade of my career. So for almost 30 years, I was a high performance tennis coach. And so it wasn't just what I did, it was who I was. So that's how involved I was. And, people who do well in sports are usually, or very commonly, high achievers. And high achievers don't just sit back and let things happen. High achievers go for things, right? They're the ones that'll do things that other people aren't willing to do, which is what really makes them stand out from the rest. But it's the same in coaching and coach education and player development. If the person that you're working with is willing to, do more, or has more passion, or, is more involved, then they're going to help you take you to those further places. And it's similar to what you were talking about in your intro earlier. So that's what I did prior to pickleball. And then, getting super duper real here. On February 12th, 2016, I was on the phone with my mom, just a regular conversation, making arrangements for her to come out and visit me in 2 weeks. And because that was my birthday, we are going to celebrate my birthday. I've got the box of Kleenex close. So if I start to, it's taken years for me to talk about this without crying. The next day I went to work, uh, still at the tennis academy, and my phone rang, and it was a family member, and I almost didn't answer it because I was at work. But I thought, oh, on the fifth ring, okay, I'm going to answer it. And it was the call that you never want to get from anybody about anything. It was the call to tell me that my mother had died suddenly, and not even like that she had died, but they couldn't get in touch with her, so they went to find out why she wasn't answering the phone or the door, and they actually found her in her home on the floor. She had died alone, just hours after I had spoken to her last. So that particular part of the story is very, very pertinent to passion, because having passion is an incredible thing to have, an incredible gift to have as a player and a coach. But losing passion is absolutely devastating. Losing my mom shattered me, and in the way that she was lost so suddenly, so unexpectedly, and just the whole scenario around it, just, it ended up shattering me. I ended up giving everything up. I quit my job. I quit my career. I sold my house. I threw my family in the car and drove out to be with my family and grieve. The level of grief that I experienced was still, as you can tell, this is 7 years ago. This was in 2016. So if I've done my math right, it's 7 years ago. Um, this is something that, just absolutely wiped me out. And I had never in my life ever experienced any kind of mental health issues or anything. So grief, I'll throw that in there, took me to a place where I no longer identified as the same person that I was. I wasn't just Tracy Bennett, and what I do for a living is I coach. I was nothing. I didn't care. I was no longer passionate about tennis. I was no longer passionate about coaching. I was no longer passionate about anything. And it was really, really like, wow. Like, I don't even know if there's words to describe that level of depth of grief that I went to, but it was it was altering, to put it mildly. So I suddenly stepped away from my career that I've had for almost 3 decades. I stepped away from all of the relationships that I had had with my peers, with my colleagues, with my students, right? And just had no passion anymore. And it took years for me to come out from the fog of that grief, to be able to even talk about my mom, um, without like falling apart, kind of like I am now, and
Mhm.
way worse. And I had decided at that point, I'm never going to coach again. I'm never going to play tennis again. I'm never going to be involved in sports again. I'm just done. It died. It's died, and it's dead. I got a call one day from an old colleague of mine, and pretty much everybody probably knows him. His name's Mark Renison. And we had done a lot of work together with Tennis Canada and course facilitating together back in the day. And he said, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. It's pickleball. It's going to be really great. Like, the momentum is just growing. It's going to be fantastic. And, I really think that you and I would be great. Let's do something together." And I said, "You've got to be kidding me. There's just no chance I'm doing anything. I'm never coaching again. I'm never picking up a racket again. I never even thought of picking up a pickleball paddle." And I declined. I said, "No, it's never happening. This is it. I'm done." And then fast forward to 2022, somebody said, "Hey, there's pickleball courts across the street," because I had just moved to a new neighborhood in British Columbia. I had moved back from being with my family to out back to British Columbia again. And they said, "Hey, I know you haven't tried it before. Come and try it." This is like early on 2022. So I went out and played, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of fun. This is great." Um, and I kind of started to go, "Okay, I think I can do this. Like, I think this would be something that I could do, maybe a little bit social, so on and so forth." But it's not in my DNA to do things a little bit or halfway or just put one toe in. And so I started playing with this group out here, and I started to like get better and better, and slowly I outgrew the group, and I realized that I was really digging it. I realized that I was having a really good time, and so I was like, "Hey, let's do this, and let's start doing that, and what if we grow this?" And then I realized that I was waking up in the morning with purpose again. I was waking up in the morning with pep in my step. I was waking up in the morning knowing I was going to play pickleball that day, and I felt joyous. And I realized that I was experiencing an awakening, and that awakening was the slow burning embers of the passion that had started to burn in me again. And then I started to think about, because it's who I was, it was my identity for decades. What can I do to help the people here to, level up, right? Like, how are we, like, I'm accelerating so quickly, sooner or later I'm not going to have anybody to play with, but if I help them improve, then they'll be able to play with me. It'll be great. So, I started messaging Mark, asking him to come out and do some stuff. I started creating tournaments here. I started, doing some things here. My passion was burning again. It was just amazing. And then I thought, I can't put myself in a position uh, right now of being an expert or a coach or anything until I've had that experience that where I've proven myself. So I started training and playing. I went to Calgary early on in 2022. I believe it was the end of March in 2022, and I played with a bunch of high level players there. Um, oh, thank you. Inspiring story. Thank you. And so that was okay. I realized, oh, yeah, I'm going to get this. And then I went and I had an incredible experience with Steve Deacon and some players in Vancouver who were just so incredibly welcoming. You know how they say it doesn't matter what people say to you, it's how they make you feel. And it was just like such a welcoming, joyous again occasion to be playing with Steve Deacon, and there was Dana Dabrio was there, and my mixed doubles partner, like a year and a half later, Brad Duick was there. It was kind of like, that was really cool. So I can't remember who else was there. Oh, Ryan Kelly was there. Anyways, they were just incredible, and they made me feel like I was on top of the world. And so all of a sudden, like, I'm on fire at the end of this. So I decide I got to play some tournaments. I have to bring somebody else to my community because I'm not the resident expert yet. But what do I need to do to become that? I've got this massive coaching background. I've created national and international level champions all over the place. I have to be able to bring my expertise here. But I've only been playing for 2 months. How am I going to do this, right? So then I decided, you got to compete and you got to win, right? And you got to start, here, and then hopefully you'll get here. Well, starting here was at 40550. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go to the States and I'm going to play some tournaments. So that year I went to Arizona and I played in my first ever USAPA sanctioned tournament, and I won it. And it was amazing to go out there in front of Canadian and American people, playing with a partner I had never played with before, and against people I had never experienced play before. And we won it. We went undefeated. We went 7 rounds. It was amazing. Well, remember I said I was on fire? I mean, add gas to that. Like, I was just like, you could see me from the moon. I was lit. So I was just lit
Let's
up. Right?
go.
So, there's talk about passion. And then I decided after that that I wanted to do more. So I decided to spend some time in Florida. And I went to Florida for 5 weeks and I played 5 back-to-back events. So every single week I was playing at events, and they were APP events and international events, oh gosh, NP events. So they weren't all APP. And went down there, got there a couple days ahead of time, didn't acclimate, thought it was going to be warm. It was freezing, so on and so forth. And got silver in the first one, got gold in the second one, got gold in the third one, got silver in the next one, got gold in the next one, got silver in the, like, so I came home with 7 medals. I played 5 events and came home with 7 medals. So I was pretty thrilled with that. And one of the experiences that I had there was just giving Senior Pro a try. And so that was a pretty cool experience as well. But all that experience did, was help me to meet incredible people. Bob and Nikki Andrews, shout out, love you. Incredible people, some incredible Canadians as well. My partner, Nancy Archibald, was my partner. I think you know her as well. We had never met before. And that was the scenario you were talking about, opportunities and seeking people out earlier in your intro. And it was kind of tough. I gotta say, and this is going to help lead up to what we're going to talk about in a little bit, because I almost felt like I was on this interview process, because I would say, "Hey, I need a partner," and people would say back to me, "Well, send me a video of yourself playing." And I'd be like, "Well, I don't have very many videos. I'm kind of new here, but I can tell you, I'm going to give you all I've got. I'm gonna give you 150%. I will die. I will dive on the court and do whatever it takes, for us to win. I'm a high performer. I'm a former professional career high performance coach. I have experience at the pro level and all that stuff like that. So let me in. Knock, knock, knock. Let me in. Right? No. So it was pretty hard to get in there, which was another thing that sparked a subset of passion for me. So, we're on this, we're driving along this lane, and now there's forks in the road. And I'm like, well, I should take this fork. I could take this fork. I could take this fork. And my passion would still be, still be able to apply my passion in all these ways. And one of it was opportunities, right? Creating the ability for people to come out and prove themselves and give them the opportunities, and and kind of weed through that interview process. Carrying along, as I just completely talk all through your show here, found some people,
We love you. We love you.
won some medals, and came home going, what can I do now? And so
Well, before we continue forward, because there's so much good stuff that you said, and something that I would love to give value to the people watching is when you said you lost your passion. And first of all, my heart and all of our hearts go out to you for facing such a challenging situation, but not only facing it, coming out on top. And I think that's where I'd love to kind of expand a little bit, because we all have these moments that really kind of define how we move forward and can define our character, can define who we become, it can define our success. And that was a moment that almost took it all from you. What would you say to someone who's faced something that made them go, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out of here. I've lost my passion. I want to go hide, be quiet, and leave me alone. What would you say to someone facing that who's maybe watching right now?
I can't say what I would say, because for me, it wouldn't have mattered what anybody said to me, because I wasn't there yet. And I think when you arrive, you arrive. And I had obviously arrived, because I could have I made a decision that day. I said yes, where every other day before that I was saying no. So, they say that you can inspire change in people, but if they're not ready to change, there's no measure of how much inspiration you can give to them until they're ready, right? So I believe that the best thing that you can do for people in that situation is just be there for them, right? Just support them, however they need to be supported. And if they need to be supported by you not giving them that little nudge, then, you know, but I think you mentioned this earlier, or maybe you didn't. Maybe I was just talking to myself in my head. There's ways of planting seeds so that they germinate, and so that when people are ready to say yes after so long of saying no, what's happened while they've still been saying no is this seed was planted and it's growing, and it's really helped them once they're ready to say yes.
Beautiful.
So that's I think what I would do.
Yeah. So then someone who might be going through a moment where they're just not ready, I guess I would piggyback. When you're ready, it just seems like the time just shows itself.
Yeah.
Would that sound
I
about
think
right?
compassion is the biggest thing, because you know what, Sarah, one of the things that you cannot control when you go to those places is, how it affects others, right?
Mm.
And I know that I had a lot of support, and I just didn't care. Right? Like I was just at a point where I was just like, great, thanks. Like I wasn't in a place to be grateful for that. I wasn't in a place to accept it, and I know that was hard on everybody that wanted to be there for me. It's just not in your control. It wasn't in my control. I'll say that. It wasn't in my control. I was in a fog for years. And when I came out from that fog, it was kind of like, what happened? What the heck went on? Right. So,
But the next step was following that spark that lit you up. And something that I talk a lot about is when you find that spark, when something lights you up, don't let it be fleeting. Don't let it pass you by. It sounds like when you were invited onto the pickleball court and you felt something exciting, you went, hey, I like this. And you kind of kept going with it.
yeah, and like I said, it kind of, I didn't choose it. It chose me. I didn't say, hey, I'm ready for my passion to come back. It just kind of took hold.
Mm.
And, it wasn't something that I did consciously. It was just something that's just allowed to become in me again.
How long did it take?
From the tragic.
Basically, from the tragedy to the moment that showed up for you out of nowhere.
5 years.
5 years. So, guys, be patient. When you experience something tragic or a slump or something that really sets you back, might not happen tomorrow, might not happen next year, could take 5 years. But I think the big takeaway that I would like to add is have faith. Have faith that this too shall pass. I mean, this is a big thing for everyone in our lives is we face things that challenge us in a big way. And something we've all heard is this too shall pass. This too shall pass. So I'm really
Absolutely.
glad it passed for you, Tracy, and has led you to meeting me. And I've enjoyed every moment of our interaction. And
Amazing.
and there's
Yeah,
a lot of big things on the horizon for you.
there
And
are, and like I was saying earlier, high achieve people who achieve a lot in sport are usually high achievers. Like they're good at school as well. They, and they have a mindset that's quite different from your average person, right? Some of the things that they have is, a set of values that drive them towards things. It's passion driven, but if passion was a value, then that's part of it, right? And um, one of you'll notice that a lot of people who do well in sports, who are high achievers and who have these values, that tend to give back, right? Tend to want to give of themselves. And I was having this conversation with Dina, um, gosh, not so long ago, and I said, I want to make an impact. I want my life to matter. I want, when I leave this earth, I want to know that I contributed. And I don't feel like I'm not an artist. I'm not a musician. I'm not a scholar. So what do I have to give? What can I contribute to the world so that, I have made my impact? Well, I only know what I know. And I know coaching. I know high performance coaching. I know how to develop champions. I know how to um, mentor and create and educate coaches. That's who I am. That's what I can give back. And so after having that conversation, I just realized that I'm back. I'm back, baby. It wasn't just about I'm a pickleball player. I'm a pickleball coach. And so, the creation of this initiative that I have right now is just, it's a part of something that I've been wanting to do from the very, very beginning. And like I said, I didn't create it. It came to me. That vision came to me, inspired by my experiences and inspired by my skill and my desire and my values. And so, I had this conversation one day with somebody who's involved in this, and I'll just give you a little bit of a I guess a scenario of how it happened. It was, I was talking with Casey Rogers, who's a friend of mine and one of my players, and she I said, how you doing? And she says, oh, I don't feel prepared. And I said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? She goes, I don't really feel like going into this event not feeling well prepared. And I said, well, why don't you feel prepared? And she said, because I didn't have any women to practice with. And I said, aha, I see, because that happens to me all the time too. And I have a feeling it happens for you all the time as well, Sara, is that once you get to a certain point, in the triangle, right, the bottom is heavy with, players that come in to the sport. And then as you go, the triangle gets more and more narrow to the point where it's, there's quite a lot of things that are limiting about it. And what Casey was finding was that she was finding it hard to get adequately prepared for women's doubles. And so I was like, so my brain started going like, what can I do to help facilitate more opportunities for players like Casey, where, we can get together and have those opportunities? Because I love every time we got onto the court and there'd be, me and Casey and then two other males, we'd be like, okay, let's do gender now. And, God love them. The guys tried so hard to give us a gender game, but the experience that we had was that the guys felt like they had to slow it down or play softer to be a gender, women's doubles. But it's not about hitting it softer, because women's doubles is a very different game than men's
It
doubles.
is.
So no wonder Casey felt underprepared for those moments. And so that inspired me to like, all right, I have the skill to be able to help create that. And
We should probably say to the audience, before we go any further, how is it different? Women's doubles is crazier than men's doubles. Just so you know, anyone who's watching who doesn't play pickleball and is wondering, oh, it must be the men who hit harder and faster and whatnot. Well, when you watch male doubles, it's a lot more control based and, very strategic on their speed ups. Women's doubles is a fire fest at the net. In case you haven't watched pro pickleball or even just local pickleball, women's doubles is very high paced. It is attack at the net, and men's is a lot more slow and controlled,
patience,
which is interesting. You would think it'd be the other way around, and it's not.
Yeah. They do say right now that women's doubles is more watched than men's doubles because
it's exciting,
right? Yeah, for sure. So, so I was inspired by Casey, so thanks, Casey, for that. Casey was announced on my page yesterday. She's the first member of the team that I'm slowly announcing throughout the next couple of weeks. I managed to be able to, and you touched on this just as you were doing your intro as well, is, you said find a coach, which yes, we're going to talk about that. And I know we only have 20 minutes left, so I got to go real fast because this is super important. Find a coach, but also find a tribe. Find a strong, empowering women who share your values and your vision. And man, when women get together, it's powerful. We can move mountains, right? So I've put together a team of women that are all enthusiastic about pickleball, but they all have their own lane where they are expertise, because not everybody can be in the same lane, right? Like I don't know how to do some things, but there's experts out there that do, and I'm like, come on, join my team, right? So I have pickleball experts, I have solutions analyst experts, I have financial people, I have a whole team of people that are joining me in this initiative that are going to help bring something. We're going to make history, because there's nothing like this being offered anywhere. And the thing that makes it different, and I'm going to go real fast right now because I just saw the time. The thing that makes this different is because there's no other, nothing else like this being offered that's being facilitated for women by women. That's the first thing. And there's nothing really else being offered at this level, because the 2.0, 2.5, 3.0, and 3.5 level players are being very well served. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of very valuable and amazing instructors out there that are doing an excellent job helping players at that level. But there's a completely different skill set involved in coaching than there is in instructing. And so, why, when you take a look out there and you see what level of play are these instructors offering, right? It usually stops at around 3.5, 4.0. Well, how come, right? Well, because the skill set of the instructor is mostly experiential. And yes, that's a word. And if it's not, I've just made it one. And what that means is, what that means is they've been high level players for so long. And so they're using their experiences and what they would do, and they're going to package that and bring that to their students. And God love them. I think that's great. Um, but at the 4.0 plus level, they don't need an instructor. They need a coach. And what they want at that point is they want to learn, how can I go from 4.0 to 4.5? And how can I go from 4.5 to 5.0 and beyond? And that's where my skill set comes in. That's where my expertise comes in, because that's what I used to do for a living, right? I used to help players perform at the professional level. And so what does it mean to perform? Well, there's many aspects of what it means to perform. But that's a skill set that I have that a lot of instructors don't. And I still want to say instructors are so valuable. It's great that they're out there and that they're plentiful. But as you can see, the underserved level is the 4.0 plus level, right? And so my vision is to be able to bring high performance pickleball for women, delivered by women. That's going to bring high performance player development to the 4.0 plus level. And because I'm in talks right now with Tennis Canada and Pickleball Canada to gain their support and their backing, we are also, the second stream of our initiative is coach education. We're going to be offering an ability for instructors who are ready to go into that coaching stream. We're going to offer them the ability to come in and be mentored. There's a professionalism aspect to it. I'll be sharing the mission statement on my page in the next few weeks. First, I'm going to roll out my team, and then I'll share my mission statement, my vision, my values, and all that from there. Because we're looking to start in April, and we've already got the ball rolling to start in Vancouver in April, and we already know there's a great interest in this. And so Casey Rogers will be co-facilitating the course with me. And my goal will be she won't be the only one. I'll be introducing more. I just don't want to give too much away right now, because I'll be giving it away over the course of the next few weeks. I'll have other people on the team that will be co-facilitating. And at the same time, those people will be actually training in that camp with the participants, so that they get a chance to be mentored by 5.0 level and professional level players and get on the court with them, because a lot of them don't get that opportunity to do that. It's there for them. As well, my role, if I'm a good enough mentor and a good enough leader, will be to pass this along in 5 or 10 years to the younger generation on my team and say, here it is, here's a legacy, let's build it. And I hope that you will bring in young coaches and young professional players so that you can mentor and lead them, so that they can carry this on when you're ready to let it go as well. So there's so many layers to this National Women's Pickleball Initiative, but in a nutshell, it is to create a pathway for player development. It is to create a training blueprint so that we can take this across the country to all corners of Canada and help women facilitate training camps and opportunities for women at the 4.0 plus level to get the coaching that isn't available to them at this particular moment in time. And to also work in conjunction with the national organization to help make this a certification opportunity, or a qualification opportunity, I should say, because sometimes when you are certified instructor or coach. You need to do professional development courses throughout your certification timeline before it expires in order for you to maintain your certification in good standing. So it will be something like that, we're hoping. We've just begun our talks. We're still in our infantile stage. We've got, like I said, we're just rolling out our team. We're rolling out our mission statement. I'm creating the blueprint. I'm creating the pathways, and it's going to be something that's absolutely incredible. We're going to make history as women providing this for women and in the high performance environment. And it's going to be absolutely incredible and exciting. And I couldn't feel more proud, blessed, and grateful to have the team of women that I have working with me, and to have the support and encouragement of people like you, Sara, and my circle of friends and people who support and encourage me. And I've got an immense backing behind this initiative, and it's just going to be fire. It's going to be passion delivered to other women.
This is amazing. This is so great. This is a big part of why I wanted you on the episode tonight, was to share this, because I saw what was being built and I saw that it's starting to get fired up. So how can people support you, find you, contact you, be involved with this with you? How do they get to you?
So we are going to, so the best thing you can do to stay informed, to support it, is to find me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Tracy Bennett Pickleball on Facebook. I don't know if you have any way of linking, typing a link into the chat, Sara. I'm also on Instagram as Tracy Bennett. It's private, so you'll have to request to join. But it's just because I spend a lot of time making sure that spammers and hackers and people who are just looking for a date don't get onto the profile. So I spend a lot of time making sure that they're actual people before I approve them in and stuff like that. So it's a safe group. And so Tracy Bennett Pickleball on Facebook, Tracy Bennett on Instagram. All the information is going to be rolled out there. We'll definitely be creating a way for people to be able to sign up. We're a little too far out right now to do that. We are partnering with a facility in Vancouver. We are partnering with a facility with some great brands. Am I supposed to be reading this? I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's just saying we have 1 minute left.
Okay. So please, come to Tracy Bennett Pickleball on Facebook, Tracy Bennett on Instagram, and everything will be revealed to you there.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Heck yeah. Thank you so much, Tracy, for coming on, sharing what you're up to, and sharing a little bit about your amazing past that has led you to being passionate about pickleball as well as life. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sara. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thanks for thinking of me.
Likewise, I look forward to seeing the future for Tracy Bennett and the Women Pickleball Initiative. And with that, this show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out SpanglishWorld.ca for all news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it.
Bye.